Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really get to the heart of what's happening in the world of work today. If you're listening, you've probably felt it, right? That constant sort of tension between the old school office setup and all these new, sometimes slightly chaotic ways we work now. Today, we're taking a close look, a real deep dive into the Ivanti 2025 Technology at Work report. Our goal to pull out the surprising stuff, the things you might not expect about flexible work, the hidden headaches with workplace tech, and what the report calls, brilliantly, I think, the Wild West of AI adoption. We're going to unpack the data and see what's really going on behind the headlines. So let me ask you this. Have you felt that pressure, maybe subtle, maybe not so subtle, to get back to the office? Or maybe, you've been quietly trying out some new apps or tools, kind of on your own, hoping to get a bit more done. We're about to see if you're alone in that or if it's a much bigger picture.
Yeah, this Ivanti report, it gives us a really fresh data-backed perspective on this balancing act that companies are, wrestling with. They talked to over 6,000 office workers, plus another 1,200 IT and cybersecurity pros. This was back in February 2025. So it's a pretty powerful snapshot of how leaders are trying to empower people, but also keep things productive and secure. It's a tricky balance.
Okay, let's jump right into that first big tension point, what the report calls the great office paradox.
Yeah.
It really feels like a lot of leaders are pushing hard for that return to the office, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The data backs that feeling up completely. Almost half, 48% of office workers said they felt pressure to return in the last year. And for IT folks, it's even higher, 64%, a significant jump.
So why the big push from the top? What are the bosses saying? The report kind of digs into their reasons. 41% think it improves productivity. 0.37% say it builds a stronger company culture. And interestingly, 32% just want more direct control. Cybersecurity gets mentioned too.
Right, but here's where it gets really interesting. You compare that to what the employees think. Leaders are pushing for productivity in the office, but get this. 82% of office workers believe they're just as productive or maybe even more productive working outside the office.
Wow, 82%. That's a huge disconnect.
It really is. And it creates friction. The report points out some serious negative knock-on effects from strict RTO mandates.
Yeah.
More than 1 in 3 workers said it hurt their morale and their job satisfaction. That's not good.
No, definitely not. And this tension, it seems to be fueling these two really fascinating, maybe slightly worrying phenomena the report talks about. Resenteeism and presenteeism. Can you break those down for us? What do they actually mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So resenteeism, that's where almost half of office workers, 48%, admit they actually dislike their job, but they're staying put anyway. Often it's financial, but they're not happy.
Okay, sticking around but resentful. Got it. And presenteeism.
That's the other side of the coin. 37% admit they're sometimes in the office just to be seen, not necessarily to be productive. The report has these really vivid examples. People logging in super early just so Slack shows them active, or, jiggling the mouse all day.
The mouse jiggle. I've heard of that one.
Exactly. Or even sighing loudly near the boss's office to seem busy. It's all about the performance of work. And the real kicker here isn't just that people are doing it, it's why. These return-to-office mandates, hoping for better culture or productivity, they might actually be backfiring. They're creating this sort of psychological disengagement, pushing people towards just looking busy instead of actually contributing effectively. It suggests a real shift in value from outcomes to just, being there.
That's a really powerful point. If outcomes are what should matter, then maybe companies need to rethink how they measure success, right? So is flexibility the whole answer then? Or is there more to it?
Well, flexibility is definitely a huge piece of the puzzle.
The report shows employees value things like flexible hours, being able to pop out for an appointment, taking proper breaks, sometimes even more than just pure remote work.
Exactly. That's a key shift. 73% of office workers and a massive 83% of IT pros see flexible working now as either high value or totally essential.
And that stat about the value of working outside the office dropping slightly from 2024 while other flexibility aspects rose. That's fascinating.
It is. It shows the nuance, right? It's not just about location anymore. But there's a problem. There's a big flexibility gap. Only 23% of office workers feel their current job is actually highly flexible.
Only 23%. Wow.
Yeah. And the gap between what people want and what they have, it's huge. A 58-point gap for IT folks, 50 points for non-IT workers. And the consequences, pretty stark. Over half of millennials, 53%, say they'd think about quitting for more flexibility. And often satisfaction with your hours can actually matter more than pay when deciding whether to stay.
That makes sense. Feeling respected and trusted.
Precisely. And nearly half, 48%, see inflexibility from their employer as a sign they aren't valued or respected. It really comes down to trust.
So, okay, even people who are technically fully in office are often working virtually anyway, right? Like 85% work off hours, sometimes 65% value working anywhere. Does this mean that whole in-office versus remote debate is, well, kind of missing the point? Is it a false dichotomy?
I think the data really points that way, yeah. It's a blended reality for almost everyone now. Even if your desk is in the office, your work doesn't just stop at those walls. So companies, they really have to get good at supporting virtual work for everyone, not just the officially remote people. The question shifts from where you work to how you work effectively, securely, and, with some autonomy.
That's a really important shift. Okay, so that moves us from the where to the how, specifically the technology that's supposed to make all this flexible work possible, but often seems to cause its own problems. If flexible work is so important, why are so many companies, well, struggling to make it work smoothly?
Well, a big piece of it seems to be what the report terms virtual collaboration pains.
Well,
55% of workers find sharing knowledge harder when they're not in the office together.
okay, that's over half.
Yeah. And almost half, 49% of IT workers and a bit fewer non-IT folks, say collaborating and even just getting a manager's attention is easier face-to-face. Networking, too. 47% feel that's better in person. These are real, tangible difficulties that tech hasn't fully solved yet.
So what are companies doing on the tech front to try and help? The report mentions things like self-service IT resources, about 48% are doing that, and monitoring device performance, automating help tickets, both around 43%. But it also notes that other automations, like self-healing tech for common IT glitches or automated onboarding that's much less common, feels a bit like patching holes rather than building a solid foundation.
That's a great way to put it. And it leads directly into this idea of the leviathan of tech sprawl. Companies are spending literally trillions globally on new tech in 2025. Yeah, huge sums. But often the result isn't streamlined efficiency. It's just more stuff. Disconnected systems, overlapping tools, things that don't talk to each other, things that aren't even effective. Think about it like buying every single kitchen gadget you see advertised. You end up with a cluttered drawer, and you still can't make toast easily.
Yeah, good analogy.
And the IT pros see it. 58% view wasteful IT spending as a problem. For 21%, it's a major problem. It's really telling that optimizing IT costs is flagged as a critical strategic priority for 2025. Even more critical, apparently, than improving security or rolling out AI.
Wow. More than security or AI. Okay, let's drill down into what exactly is causing this inefficiency. What are the main culprits the report identifies?
Well, first off, just sheer complexity. 38% of IT professionals say the complexity of their tech environment is a significant barrier, and that's actually up 4 points from last year.
Getting worse, not better.
Exactly. I mean, things take longer, problems are harder to pin down, and waste. How about this? 31% of organizations don't even track their unused software licenses. That's just money down the drain.
Paying for seats nobody's sitting in. Okay, what else?
Then there's tech debt. This is a huge one. 1 in 3 IT workers calls it a very serious problem. It's like, taking shortcuts when you build something. It seems faster at first, but eventually you have to go back and fix the foundations, and it costs way more.
Right, the quick fix that bites you later.
Precisely. And we see that with 48% of companies still using end-of-life or EOL software. That means it's not getting security patches, no updates.
Basically, wide open to problems.
Very vulnerable, yes, and inefficient. Plus, 39% point to outdated hardware driving wasteful spending, too.
Okay, complexity tech debt. What's the third big drag?
Data and organizational silos. This is massive.
Yeah.
Over half, 55% of IT pros report that data is siloed off in different parts of the company.
Like trying to solve a puzzle when everyone's hiding their pieces.
Exactly. And the consequences are serious. 62% say it slows down their security response. 35% say it weakens their overall security posture. Plus, 40% say it drags down IT efficiency generally. And 37% find it hinders internal collaboration. It's a system-wide blockage.
It sounds like a mess. And this complexity, it has real costs, right? Both obvious and maybe hidden.
Oh, definitely. The direct costs are things like paying for redundant applications, 43% cite that. Or cloud over-provisioning, 39%, which is basically renting way more cloud computing power than you actually need.
Like renting a 10-bedroom house for one person.
Exactly. But then there are the hidden indirect costs. Poor visibility is a big one. 57% say leadership just doesn't have a clear view of IT efficiency. And basic asset tracking, it's often suboptimal. Only about a third track device, age or location, or even patch status. Many companies just aren't doing the basics of tech management well.
Which makes you wonder, AI is so often hyped as the solution, isn't it? The magic bullet for inefficiency. But can it really fix things when the foundation, the underlying tech, is so complicated, so siloed, so full of debt? Or is it just adding another layer to this tech leviathan?
That is the question, isn't it? And the report dives right into this because what we're seeing isn't some neat, planned AI rollout. It's much more like what Ivanti calls the AI Wild West.
The AI Wild West, I like that.
Yeah. There's been this huge explosion in using generative AI at work. 42% of office workers now use it. That's up 16 points from 2024. And for IT pros, 74% are using it. It's becoming ubiquitous.
Okay, so people are using it, but the Wild West part.
The Wild West part is that a lot of this use is happening under the radar. Outside of official company tools or policies, the report found 46% of office workers
Right.
and 38% of IT workers are using AI tools that their employer didn't provide and might not even know about.
Wow. So shadow AI is a real thing. That sounds like a huge security risk.
It absolutely is. These tools might not meet company security standards, data privacy rules, you name it. But it's more than just a security issue. It points to something deeper, almost like a power struggle, you know?
Yeah, tell me more about that. Why the secrecy? Have you ever found a really good shortcut or tool and kind of kept it to yourself?
Haha, maybe. Well, the report digs into the motivations. Nearly a third, 32%, of these AI users are deliberately keeping it quiet, especially younger workers.
And why? What are the reasons?
Several things come up. 36% just like having that secret advantage, feeling it makes them more effective. 30% are actually worried that if their bosses knew how much AI helps them, their job might be cut.
The fear factor.
Yeah. And then 27% talk about AI-fueled imposter syndrome. They don't want people questioning if they did the work or if the AI did.
That's fascinating, the psychology behind it.
It really is. But here's maybe the most crucial point. 52% of office workers agreed with the statement, when I work more efficiently, my employer just gives me more work.
Oof. Okay, that says a lot.
It really does. It reveals this deep tension over who actually benefits from these AI productivity gains. It's not just about security risks from unauthorized tools. It's a fundamental disconnect about value, reward, and maybe a failure by companies to tap into this bottom-up innovation.
So individuals are racing ahead using AI for themselves, but organizations are lagging behind in using it strategically.
That's exactly what the data suggests. While employees are adopting AI personally, organizational use, especially for critical IT operations, is much slower. Think about IT help desks. Most are not systematically using AI or automation for things like predicting IT problems before they happen, detecting anomalies, speeding up incident response, finding root causes, or smartly routing tickets.
Even though, 86% of IT pros agree AI is important for efficiency.
Exactly. 86% see the potential, but the systematic implementation just isn't there yet. Big gap between belief and action.
So given this messy reality, the secret usage, the trust gap, the slow organizational adoption, what does Ivanti actually recommend? How can companies navigate this AI Wild West?
They give some pretty clear, actionable advice. First, companies need a proper plan. Identify high-priority use cases for AI. And crucially, document how AI is going to reduce complexity, not just add another layer to it. It needs real integration.
Right. Fight the Leviathan, don't feed it.
Precisely. Second, map out multi-year plans for talent and training. Because right now, 44% of companies are investing in AI tech, but their employees often lack the skills to use it effectively or safely.
It's a skills gap. Okay.
And finally, and this directly addresses the Wild West issue, companies need to assume their employees are using unofficial AI tools. Don't pretend it's not happening. Assess the compliance risks, then put clear, sensible policies and guidelines in place. Offer training. It's about guiding and enabling, not just saying no.
So manage the reality, don't ignore it. That makes sense.
Yeah. It all comes back to finding that balance Ivanti talks about. Optimization, being leaner, faster, more agile as a business, and empowerment, unlocking what employees can do, maybe sanctioning useful tools they find, fostering that creativity and satisfaction.
It's about boosting business performance while also giving people the flexibility and autonomy they need to do great work.
Exactly.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've really dug into some core tensions today, haven't we? That push-pull between the office and real flexibility, the promise of tech versus the messy reality of sprawl and silos, and this fascinating dynamic with AI individuals jumping in, organizations holding back, and this undercurrent of mistrust.
Absolutely. And I think the central takeaway, the main finding from Ivanti's research is pretty clear. The organizations that will really thrive are the ones that figure out how to balance that drive for business performance, for optimization, with creating the conditions where employees feel engaged, find purpose, and feel trusted. It's about valuing contributions, not just monitoring presence.
Right. Value over visibility. And that leaves us, and you listening, with a really provocative thought to chew on, doesn't it? Given that people are using AI to boost their own productivity, often in secret, and often feel like getting more efficient just means getting loaded with more work, how can organizations genuinely build a culture where the benefits of new tech feel shared, where there's real trust? How do they avoid creating this divide, this feeling that progress benefits the company but not necessarily the employee? That's a deep question, goes beyond just this report. It makes you think about your own workplace, right? What's happening there? And maybe more importantly, what should be happening to bridge that gap?